Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Charles Sabanson, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamers Pro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we have a hell of a show in store for you guys. Before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. This is going to be a very interesting one. Very, very interesting one. Why? Because if you guys have heard Stephen A. Smith, we've heard from various outlets that he's in contract negotiations with ESPN to get a 5-year renewal. According to all of the reports that we've heard, at least I've heard, that he's looking at a $120 million package over 5 years, right? That's what we heard. So I don't know if that's true, but those are the numbers we've been hearing. Stephen A. Smith has been pretty tight-lipped about it. He said he doesn't want to discuss his negotiations while the negotiations are ongoing and all of that, but we've heard that, right? And to me, I have no issue with him being the highest paid member at ESPN. I think it makes sense. He's the network. He's the face of that network. And if he's the face of the network, he's the biggest name. He's the one that makes the most headlines. He absolutely should be paid the most. No question about it. But what have we also discovered over the last 2 years now? We've also discovered that Stephen A. Smith has an interest in politics and broader societal issues. He started the Stephen A. Smith Show, where he discusses just this very thing, politics. Hell, as a matter of fact, we did a show on our channel, Here's What I Think. If you guys are not subscribed to it, if you're interested in it, you can check it out. Here's What I Think. My name is Charles Sabansi. Same name as my name, Charles Sabansi. Here's What I Think. Where we talk about broader issues, politics and all of that. And we did a show where we were reacting to a back and forth that Stephen A. Smith had with Roland Martin, right? Where Roland Martin said that Stephen A. Smith didn't have the facts on a particular issue pertaining to January 6th. Riots that took place, and Stephen A. Smith has also been, people have been coming at him saying that, you know, he's trying to play both sides of the political aisle. On one hand, he sounds like a Democrat, on the other hand, he sounds like a Republican. Hell, I just saw a clip recently that says Stephen A. Smith went on Fox News where he said he regrets supporting the Democrats. So Stephen A. Smith has had an interest about talking about politics, and I think at certain parts of him have some conservative views, right? So whatever. But if you know anything about the company that he works for, Disney, they're a left-leaning company, right? They're on the left. They have a lot of people that go on their shows, front-facing talent, that you could tell that these guys have some liberal views there. And I think there's this internal struggle that's happening with Stephen A. Smith, where he may have some conservative proclivities that he doesn't want to share because of the network that he works for. So what happened? This morning I was going through the internet. I came across an article here from awfulannouncing.com, and it had the following headline. It says, Stephen A. Smith once again insists ESPN deal is not done. Hence, he's still pushing for freedom. And I'm like, this would be very, very interesting. So before we even get into what he had to say in this article here, today's video is brought to you by our sponsor, Prize Picks. Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports with over 10 million members. Prize Picks makes it easy to get real money action on the sports and players you love. You pick more or less on at least 2 for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. For example, this week on Prize Picks, I'm looking at the upcoming NBA schedule and selecting Stephen Curry for more than 29 points and Kevin Durant for more than 27 points and Anthony Davis for more than 12 rebounds and Luka Doncic for more than 8 assists. If you're like me and you like to play it safe, you'll love Prize Picks' new feature, Flex Plays. It's the safest way to play. You can still cash out even if your lineup isn't perfect. Plus, you can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. On top of this, Prize Picks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I can get my money as quick as in 15 minutes. So download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code CLNS on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. And remember, whenever you support this sponsor, you're supporting this channel. Thank you. So let's get into what this article has to say. It continues on. It says, it's been weeks since news broke of Stephen A. Smith agreeing on a new deal with ESPN, but the First Take host continues to insist it's not finished. This week, the conversation came up as Stephen A. Smith joined Mad Dog Unleashed alongside Chris Russo, a First Take sparring partner who recently congratulated Smith on air for the deal. Smith called talks with ESPN constructive and beneficial, but strongly pumped the brakes on the idea that he is locked into a new deal reportedly worth anywhere between 100 and 120 million over 5 years. Talks have been constructive and beneficial, but we haven't reached an agreement yet. And until that comes, as far as I'm concerned, I've got 6 months or so to go to do the best job I can possibly do, Smith told Russo per Deadline, before again refuting that the deal would reach $120 million. When Andrew Marchand reported that figure earlier this year at The Athletic, Smith messaged Marchand directly to set the record straight. At the time, Smith also appeared to push back on the deal being done. But while Smith's new ESPN contract may not reach the eye-popping $120 million that originally caught everyone's attention, Smith told Russo that money is not the obstacle in the way of getting the deal done. The money doesn't matter, but the money is there. That's not the issue, Smith said. For me personally, there's a lot of other things that I want to do, and I want the freedom to do it. We live in a different world, and being able to diversify your portfolio and do things outside of that one job that you may have is incredibly important to me. Because that is of importance to me, that's kind of the thing that we have to work out. From the start of the negotiations between Smith and ESPN, the face of the network made it clear that an opportunity to pursue projects away from ESPN and Disney was important to him. Smith invested millions into his podcast, for which he recently struck a separate deal with iHeartMedia for ad sales and distribution. During the 2024 U.S. election, Smith was a frequent face on Fox News, News Nation, and digital talk shows. ESPN reports Smith's wide-ranging new contract indicated he would have a first-look agreement with Disney for projects beyond sports, which he could place on ABC, FX, or the company's growing streaming platform. Judging from Smith's latest comments, the details of that agreement are still being hashed out and could hold up the deal. Hopefully, we'll reach an accord and be there for years to come. And if it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out, Smith added. And then the article then goes on to say a few other things there. So what are my thoughts on this? Okay, what are my thoughts on this? I think this is a good one, right? This is a good one, and I think is very important. What Stephen A. Smith is essentially talking about is the freedom to be able to talk about things that he wants to talk about. Now, what may be surprising to some people is that you think, well, hey, these guys have all the money in the world. They should be able to, blah, blah, blah. They have freedom. But in reality, a lot of them don't because of contractual restrictions. There's certain things they can talk about. There's certain things they can't talk about. Some of it may be off limits because of sponsors. You need to say certain things and be politically correct about certain things because of the sponsors that you have. You don't want to say things that are going to alienate them, cause you to lose sponsorship dollars. You have that as well. You have other things that you can't say that may not align with the views and the values of the particular network that you work at. And there are a lot of things that I believe that Stephen A. Smith would love to say that he cannot say working for ESPN. And there have been times that Stephen A. Smith has been reprimanded for having views that may be diametrically opposed to those views that ESPN once propagated to the masses. So I think therein lies the issue. Stephen A. Smith is getting to the point where he's like, look, man, I'm making all of this money, but I don't have the freedom to say what I want to say. I don't have the freedom to do that, which then indicates to me that Stephen A. Smith is in search of one thing, which is called FU money. Because when you have FU money, you can say whatever the hell you want to say. I'll give you guys a perfect example of someone that has FU money and therefore has zero fear of saying what he believes. Patrick Bet-David. Patrick Bet-David must be worth, what, $500 million by now? Patrick Bet-David says whatever the hell he wants. Why? Because you can't cancel him. What are you going to do? Take him off of YouTube? The guy's rich anyway. And that's one of the fears a lot of people have, being deplatformed, having their income stream being cut off or whatever it is. But Patrick Bet-David has made all of his money outside of all of these forces that could quiet him, that could silence him. And he's sitting on a stockpile of cash, according to him, a few $100 million he's sitting on. So when you have that type of financial freedom, you can say what you want to say. So the question then becomes, what number do you need to have in order for you to feel like, hey, look, I want to say what I want to say. Right. And for example, let's just go through a thought experiment here. What if Stephen A. Smith did renew at ESPN? He could find himself working at Valuetainment. Hell, they got the money to pay him. They were going to offer Tucker Carlson $100 million. You could see that Valuetainment tries to dabble into the sports arena from time to time. You got a guy like Stephen A. Smith. Number one, you have a household name working there, and they got the money to pay him. Plus, he has his own platform, so it could work perfectly. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. That's what should happen. I'm not saying Stephen A. Smith is ready for that to happen, because not being able to be on the platform that is ESPN with all of the views and all of that, maybe to someone like him, it matters a lot. I don't know Stephen A. Smith. But you can kind of understand, and that's the challenge that we all have. Now, for us here at Dreamers Pro, we decided that, look, we want to talk about other things, so we created another channel. We don't do it for money because, hell, it doesn't make us any money. So we just do it for the fun of it. If it makes money in the future, fantastic. If it doesn't, at least I can get certain things off my chest, right? So I get where Stephen A. Smith is coming from. He's dealing with it, and it's a serious issue. So the question is simply this. Do you think Stephen A. Smith will get the freedom he is looking for while working for ESPN? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. We'll catch you on the next show. Peace.